Let me just say this. For anyone who thinks this is easy, this takes a good solid hour a day to do. So you better appreciate it, okay? Anywho. Hello, bitches. Just kidding, but trying to switch it up because I always just say, all right, all right, all right. I should probably make a montage of all my videos starting and just how it all ends with, all right, all right, all right. Cool. So, welcome to the Late Night Shane Show. Got my funny hat on today because I'm trying to be funny, and I probably won't be funny at all because of that. But part of the reason I run this show, it's not really just comedy. It's kind of a place to be a little raunchier. This is actually on my main page because it won't let me go live on my won't let me go live on my comedy page. I gotta shout out my dad just joined. I don't know if he's still in. I won't shout out everyone, but what's up, Timmy D? Hope you're having a good one. Kind of late for you, 1 a.m. Hopefully you had a good night. Not sure what you did. I know you were kind of laying low. Love the hat, thank you. I appreciate it. I knew you'd like this one. I got a couple of them. I gotta wear it at golf maybe one day. But yeah. So, anyways, I kind of started. Love you too, Timmy D. So I started a story on the Shane D show about an older lady who was flirting with me, and how she said like, "Oh, you're cute." It just kept feeding me compliments. At one point, my potential hairdresser walked in, and my hair's looking kind of curly out the back. Have my hat on backwards, and the haircut lady or hairdresser is like, "You still need that haircut?" And I'm like, "Hey, at least I haven't cheated on you. You know what I mean? And got my haircut somewhere else." I'm like, "I'm still waiting it out." So then, as soon as that lady said something about my haircut, and I know this looks weird just because I have like a string going here. It's not actually my hair. But then the lady who's flirting with me is like, "Oh, you don't need a haircut. I like your hair." And I'm like, "Boom, thank you." And then she kind of gives me a backhand compliment, but was also kind of a good comment. She's like, "Yeah, like, you know, I don't mean this in a mean way." She's like, "You're obviously like a bigger guy." And I'm like, "All right, where's she gonna go with this?" And she's like, "I think if you lost more than 15 pounds, you wouldn't even be good looking." I'm like, "That's an interesting thing to say." I'm like, "Thank you." Probably the last thing I need to hear, but I think 15 pounds would be great. Even the weight I have lost so far has been great. I don't know exactly what she meant by that, but when she first started with like, "Hey, you're a big guy," and I think she also just means the hair works well. She's like, "I wouldn't go longer." It was good feedback. She's a little bit crazy, not gonna lie. Nothing wrong with having a friend. So, anyways, at a certain point, I've been chilling there talking. We were flirting for a while. She was a little like rude to the bartender at some point, which I'm like, damn, I don't really want to be like talking to this lady. But I think it was clear that like we just met. It wasn't like someone I brought to the bar, and is what it is. Like she's not the nicest person to the person that she interacted with. Not gonna end a friendship over it. But I definitely wasn't pumped because that's kind of like where I plan on working. So I was kind of like at first cold shouldering her and stuff like that. Eventually, she kind of like got through my tough exterior because she just kept feeding me compliments. I'm like, well, I'm not gonna ignore someone who's saying I'm good looking. Like, feed it up. I'm like, oh, I needed this confidence boost. Hell yeah, keep it coming. So, anyways, at a certain point, I'm getting ready to leave. I see that she's like trying to download Uber or something. And I'm just like, "Hey, if you need a ride, I got you." Previous to that, she actually took down my number, like just kind of, she's like, "Oh, we're gonna be friends," stuff like that. And I'm like, whatever. I just offered a ride home, and I'm kind of like, "Oh, I hope she doesn't even accept because I just smoked a blunt in there before, and it's gonna reek like weed." And I'm like, that'll be kind of awkward. Whatever. I was like, maybe I can spray some Febreze. I'm like, oh, that'd be like weird, like rushing to my car to spray it. I don't know. So I was like, whatever. I offered. She accepted. Was completely a platonic invitation. Like I plan on just driving her home. I figured she was on the way. It was on the way, which was convenient. When she smelled the smoke, though, she's like, "Oh, you have weed?" I'm like, "Oh, you want to smoke whatever?" She's like, "Yeah, yeah." I'm like, "You want me to roll something up right now? Because I smoke blunts." And that would have been, pretty ideal. But she's like, "No, I have a bowl at home. Like, we can smoke it." And I'm just like, huh, how's this going to go? I'll save you a couple minutes anyways. Nothing bad happened. It ended up just being a cool night. Got to talk to her. She's a pretty cool resource to have down here. She's local. She had this sick house, absolutely beautiful house, nice dog named Willa. I forget even why the Willa. Oh, it's something to do with like Jon Snow and Game of Thrones. That was something we like talked about. She had cool music going. What I really felt like in a way, and I know Timmy D, I probably said this to you already, but I just feel like almost like Nick Kerouac from The Great Gatsby, where it's like part of me was like, I don't really want to go to her house. I was like, nothing good will come from it. But then the other part was like, I don't really know what'll happen unless I go. And I'm like, you never know. Like, she could end up knowing someone that turns out to be a great person in my life, maybe my future girlfriend. She's a local, who knows? Also, I'm like, local people are great for, real estate and stuff like that. And ultimately, she was just a cool person besides that one downside where I was like, she's kind of drunk right now, and she kind of was a little mean to the the staff more mean than I like, but I have other people that are friends and they're not always the nicest of staff. I don't appreciate that, and I try to avoid maybe situations with them like that, but it's not their entire character. I'm not sure what kind of deep rooted issue that is that people have that they're mean to servers. I'm personally very nice to servers. Someone who's about to be a server and has been kind of a server in the past, I don't know why people would be rude. She wasn't totally rude. She was just being kind of like just short, and like she was mad that they wouldn't let her open a tab. I wouldn't let her open a tab. I'm surprised they even served her because she was honestly pretty drunk at the time. Turns out she wasn't as drunk as I thought. The more we talked, like she remembered my name. Yeah, she needed someone to talk to. You're right, Timmy, and that's something I'll get into. Yeah. So, anyways, sick place, very cool. She had a fireplace. I love fireplaces in South Carolina. You'll probably never use it besides like a week in the winter, but it's just a very cool, homey feel. There's not a lot there. I don't have a fireplace right now. Even in my old house, I had one. I think I used it once, and the smoke came back in the house. So, just because you have a fireplace doesn't mean you're going to always use it necessarily. Cool. Other than that, she had a pool, which was very nice. I was like, I'm going to be going to that pool in the summer. And we kind of laughed about that. But yeah, so anyways, sorry, I'm just checking my notes here. But yeah, I mean, with her, she unfortunately had some tragedy recently, and I don't want to like unlock all her business, but basically she has a 7-year-old son, and she's been like raising him with her ex-husband, who's kind of was in the picture, and he just dropped dead suddenly in December. Horrible story. Won't give all the details of that, but the 7-year-old son actually like walked in and found the kid. I felt so bad, and that's like very fresh. Oh, so it wasn't December, it was October. That's still like 5 months previously, and like trying to figure out life and stuff like that, and like I could tell she needed definitely a friend. Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it, Tiffany. I was trying to be kind. I think part of me in the back of my head was like, well, this lady's cute enough. She's feeding me compliments. I knew deep down in my heart, I was like, there's really no. I was like, I even felt a little uncomfortable going to her house because like I hope she doesn't try anything. We kind of joked about it. I was like, hey, that no funny stuff, and she's like, no, we're just friends. I was like, all right, good, kind of thing. And there were some moments where there was a little bit of sexual tension, but at the end of the day, it's like, hey, we're not going to do this time around. I kind of told her, I was like, hey, maybe in a couple months when you're not dating someone, we'll see how it goes. She's like, no, I need a guy friend anyway. So it worked out great. She was a great person to talk to. I had someone to talk ear off, which is always good. Someone other than my normal people that I'm always bothering with my kind of never-ending talking, stuff like that. Overall, she's a cool person. We listened to some great music. We had very similar vibes. She showed me some new songs. I showed her some new songs. And it was just cool. It was a nice little powwow. It was very picturesque, or I guess like it felt like I was in a movie. That's kind of why I brought up The Great Gatsby. I'm sitting there. We're on this porch, covered porch. She's like a heater, which was nice because it was kind of chilly out. Music's going with the TV. TV wasn't as much picturesque, but when you look out on the water, it was like the moonlight was lighting up the pool. Almost looked like there was a light in the pool because of it. And then the rain's coming down. There was a spotlight on this bike that was just kind of like there, propped up. I was like, dude, this literally feels like just a movie, kind of a scene, something like that. It was very cool. I actually like when life does that. I think there's a certain saying or word that describes when life feels like you're in a movie. I had one other time recently that was like that when I was in Boston. I was walking through not Central Park, Boston Commons, and I was right near the duck boats and the swans or whatever, swans and stuff like that. And it literally felt like I was just walking through an old like Victorian picture, like old picturesque thing. Very cool. So it's fun when you experience that. Sometimes you want to take your phone out and take a picture, but I think that kind of ruins the moment. And so that wasn't what I did there. It wasn't what I did in Boston Commons either. I kind of regret it, Boston Commons, but I don't think the film would have done it justice. So like the memory almost serves better. Cool. So this is my cry for help. I thought I put a note there actually before. Anyone who wants to help me find an age-appropriate girl to go on dates with, even a friend, send it my way. Hopefully they're single, available, straight. I'll do bisexual, like perfectly fine with that. But I don't want them to be having a girlfriend at the time. I feel like for some reason, I am just constantly finding myself with unavailable women. It's just unfortunate, right? And then if they're not unavailable and then they are available, it's always like something missing in the attraction level. Like there's enough there that maybe we can make it work. But I'm just like, I'm not settling for someone that doesn't light me up. And I don't think that's a great way of going into it. So if you guys know someone looking for a guy with a head on straight, crazy hats, trying to do stuff with his life, not drinking, but not really has a problem with alcohol, send them my way. I promise I'm not going to be smoking much longer. So if that's a deterrent, don't let that deter them from meeting a great guy. And who knows, we could just be a friendship and stuff like that. So that is my PSA or request for everyone, beggars and choosers. I don't know what you call it. Send something my way. Set up a blind date. I don't really care. Anyways, so the other story that I have, and I know I'm already at 10 minutes, so I'm going to try to keep this quick. I got called by my buddy Mario, who's also my neighbor. As I'm getting home, he's like, hey, come on over. Casey's here. And when I heard Casey's here, I literally thought it was TJ and Casey, his girlfriend. TJ's like one of our buddies, and I didn't mean to say the name. So I'm not going to say what I was going to say next. Anyways, it wasn't them. So I was like, oh, I was expecting to be them. And I was actually pumped for it to be them. It was actually this lesbian couple that I'd met one other time, and then we saw kind of at his birthday party. Absolutely great people, like really love them, good, kind souls. I vibe with them both very much. The funny thing was when I got there, they were talking about seeing my comedy stand up. And I don't really I don't talk too much, like, there's no homophobic jokes by any means, but I do talk sometimes about, like, gay and, you know, like, lesbians being attracted to me. I talk about, like, sex changes, transgender. So you can, like, you have to tiptoe a little bit. It's a fine line, right? I was like, they could have maybe not liked it. Turned out they did like it. One of the jokes, which I didn't say this week, but I had said at least one of the weeks, I think it was definitely the one they saw. I basically said that, like, why do all the girls that are perfect for me end up being lesbians and stuff like that? And I talked about, like, that was basically one of the jokes. I'm like, oh, I'm thinking about getting a sex change. I was like, yeah. I was like, because all the girls I fall in love with turn out to be lesbians. I'm like, maybe they'll give me a chance. That's a joke. That was actually written and inspired by one of the girls tonight that are there. Yeah, gay mustaches. That's true. Yeah. But that's not a diss towards gay people for sure. Just responded to me. But so anyways, the girl literally was the inspiration of the joke. And she's not the first lesbian that I found myself vibing with heavy, but totally was the lesbian that, like, inspired me to write that joke. Because I'm like, dude, we were flirting, we're vibing. I'm like feeling like I'm throwing absolute heat, you know, just absolutely being a Rembrandt, pitching. My game is on point. And then suddenly this girl walks in and starts holding her hand. And I'm just like, oh my God, she's a lesbian. It's like no one says, like, oh, by the way, I'm a lesbian or whatever. Usually someone would be like, oh, my girlfriend or my boyfriend. And you know that they're taken. Had none of that. We were flirting, vibing. It was only like 5 minutes. And I think she's just that kind of personality. But it was like, oh, I like this. No, I like that. How about this? How about that? It's like our vibes were just locked in. And so if there's a straight version of her out there, love to meet her. You know what I mean? Would be great. But it was funny because I'm just like, oh, that's hilarious that they probably heard that joke. And I'm just like, that's literally the person I wrote about. Anyways, what I found myself, which was a little awkward, is like, I'm still gawking at this girl and like flirting with her. And I'm like, oh my God, I can't make it obvious. Like literally her girlfriend's here. Plus I respect their relationship and I have no chance anyways. But I'm just like, don't make it awkward. So then I'm just like a flirty guy. So I have to like start flirting with like my neighbor Mario and then her girlfriend basically. So that was it. It's just like I had to like change my game just to include everyone in the flirt. But jokes aside, it was a great time. They're nice people. We had a good time. I spent only like 2 hours there, so I didn't want to like chew and screw, but I did want to keep kind of, I had a couple games on schedule to play with my buddy afterwards, video games that is. And then also I wanted to make sure, it's actually funny, Mario just called me now, so I got to call him back in a second. But I wanted to make sure I could go live for you guys, get some posts in, a little bit more work I had to do for everyone. So that's my story. Oh, sorry, actually, there's one joke that we have that's in the future, and it was something that, like, weirdly, I have no punchline, right? This is just a premise, but no one steal my joke or you're a dick. But the joke's about how, like, thermometers for babies used to be, like, shoved up people's butts and stuff like that. And when they said that, like, when we mentioned that, I had, like, a pain in my ass from, like, the last time as a baby or whenever I was conscious, and someone, like, shove that so far and they like lube it up or Vaseline. I don't know what they put on that thing so far in my butt and like hit a wall or whatever that it felt like it went like in the back of my throat. Like, to be honest, I used to hate the strep throat test. And I think part of that was remembering when the freaking thermometer was shoved in my butt. And I'm just like, they all three of us had a similar action. Like, dude, that thing fucking sucked. And if you're a parent nowadays and you're shoving freaking thermometers up butts, you're sick. Okay, because they have those freaking little guns. They're going to tell you, like, why do you need to go up in your fucking kid's butt to see if he has a fever? Like, just do the gun and give him some Motrin, because that's all they're going to tell you to do really anyways. I don't know why that was a thing. I get maybe, like, you can't put it in their mouth long enough. They don't know to, like, close their mouth. But very strange if you're in 2024 and you're shoving a thermometer up your kid's butt. Kind of feels like one of those like, well, it happened to me, they can handle it too. Well, that doesn't make it right. So anyways, that's my joke. I have no punchline for it, but somewhere around just those rectal, well, I don't, rectum thermometers, butt thermometers, not sure what you call them. So I'm not going to say who said this, but someone in my chat just gave me a joke. Goes, how do you aggravate a queer baby? And he goes, pull the pacifier out its ass. It's pretty funny. And hey, you know, that's not even like mean or anything. I mean, because technically you're born gay, right? So like the baby would be, I don't know if queer is the right word to say. Probably get me canceled, but you know, I don't know. That's interesting. So, you know, if I get canceled, so be it. Anyways, I'm at 15 minutes, which is a little longer than scheduled. Shout out to my my people in my chat. Dad, thanks for joining. I love you. I'll see you tomorrow. Hopefully you're going to be up nice and early because I'm driving over to the game at 12. You know, 12:15 will be kind of the plan on arrival. But, you know, we're targeting 12 so that 12:15 happens when I'm late. Anyways, hope you all had a good time. Hope you liked my story. I know I kind of rambled on a little bit, but I thought these were worth telling. Thanks for watching. Thanks for everyone being a part of it. One love.